Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the Apple Vision Pro. Last week, Apple released the Apple Vision Pro finally, and I had a chance to go to the Apple Store and test it. Before we dive into the video, if you don't know me, my name is Ali. I'm a Fulbright PhD Candidate in Learning Sciences, and I do studies in learning technologies, especially in virtual reality. That's why I'm actually interested. So this video is going to be in 3 chapters. You don't have to watch the whole video. If you just want to jump into the other section, just look at the thumbnails here. First of all, I'm going to talk about the demo day, what I was expecting and how it went. Second, we're going to talk about what I like about Vision Pro and what are the improvements needed from my perspective. Lastly, we're going to talk about the future directions of Apple Vision Pro and what I think about the Apple Vision Pro's future as a virtual reality researcher in learning sciences. Okay, let's get started with the demo day. So I was really excited with this launch, and I've been actually waiting for Apple to release that. I actually tried to get a demo schedule before they actually started, but they didn't let me do it beforehand. So I had to wait until the launch day, and I woke up early in the morning and I went there and I waited in front of the Apple Store, and I was one of the first people who had a chance to touch the Apple Vision Pro and demo it. I was actually really impressed by the way that actually they were prepared. So as a VR researcher, I already know that technical problems and technology is usually a problem when you're trying to show people how a virtual reality technology works. So I had a lot of virtual reality demos and workshops in the past, and usually when you have multiple people, you end up trying to explain people what button they need to click and then what they're seeing, and then you ask them like, what do you see right now? So that was not the case at all. They were really prepared. Staff working there, they told me that they've been trained in this for a couple of months before. So that was a good experience. And then the moment they scheduled me and then they put me in a designated space for trying the Apple Vision Pro, they scanned my face and my head, and someone else prepared the actual physical headset. After the measurements were taken, someone brought an headband. They brought a small headband and then they had to replace it with a medium because it didn't fit my head. The staff that I was working with in the demo was sitting next to me, and he was explaining everything about the Vision Pro. They showed me how I need to grab the Apple Vision Pro to put it on my head, and then after that they explained it to me how the navigation works and what kind of things I need to do. I also liked that they had a plan and experience. They actually showed me everything that the Vision Pro was capable of, step by step, starting from the navigation. They first taught me how to pinch zoom and then zoom out, and then how to grab something, and then how to resize objects and the windows inside the Vision Pro. All in all, the Vision Pro experience in the demo was really nice, and it's an Apple way. They always overthink about all these things, and it actually ends up being a really good experience. Okay, so let's move forward to the second part of this video, where I'm going to talk about what I like about Vision Pro in terms of technology and the user experience. First thing I realized when I put the headset on was the Apple Vision Pro was sharp. The screen resolution and for each eye is more than 4K. The screen resolution for each eye is very much detailed than any other headset that you can find out there. I know there are other headsets like with the new Quest 3 or Quest Pro, they have better quality, but they don't have the same resolution as the Apple Vision Pro. The screen quality made me really impressed. When I look at the text, I've never had any type of blurry vision or trying to understand or trying to change my placement of the headset on my face, because that usually happens to me while using the older headsets. I remember in Quest 2, I had to find the perfect position on my face to be able to see things clearly. That was definitely not the case in Apple Vision Pro, and it was really sharp. And especially, when I say it's sharp, it's really sharp. When you open the Safari and you scroll through the websites and trying to read something, it's really easy to read. That was impressive for me because it was even better than my actual screen that I have on my desk here. Kudos to Apple for doing that. The second thing I liked was the user experience and design and the whole user experience in general. Apple, we already know that is really good at creating really good software. iOS or macOS or iPadOS, they're all really good. They're all very good operating softwares. So I think the fact that they had the advantage of having the iOS, macOS, and iPadOS, they actually took it from these experiences and put it in the Apple Vision Pro. The experience was very similar. If you're using an Apple device, if you're in the ecosystem, it's going to be really familiar for you. When you put the headset on, first thing you're going to see is the home screen where you're going to see the apps. It's very similar to your Apple Watch or your iPhone. It's not going to look exactly the same. I think it looks closer to the Apple Watch design of the apps in the home screen, that the circle round versions of the app icons. Next thing I am impressed is the eye tracking. So the fact that you can control things with your eye is actually really impressive. But this is a very smooth and seamless experience that the eye tracking works almost always right. It works in a way that there are eye tracking inside the headset. They're looking at your eyeballs and then what you're looking at inside the headset. And then the moment you look at something, an object or any part of the user interface, if you want to select something, if you look at the X button on top, it is going to recognize that. And if you want to select something, you're just going to bring your fingers together and then you're going to select. And then if you want to zoom out, from something, you're going to pinch and then out and then pinch inside. You need to look at the corner of a window, and then when you look at the corner of the window, it's going to light up, and then you're going to be able to pinch out and then pinch zoom in. So this is actually really smart. But there is a caveat that is coming with that, but I'm going to mention that in a minute. Okay, another thing I liked about the Vision Pro is the spatial video. Spatial video was a really interesting experience that I've never experienced. So virtual reality, Apple calls it spatial computing. It's technically virtual reality when you have the immersion fully on. It's actually a different experience. That's why I actually like researching on the virtual reality, because it's a totally different experience. The immersion and the presence that is coming with isolating yourself from another world is kind of hacking your brain into believing that you're experiencing something else. The fact that which spatial video works, it makes it believe a real live video is actually right now in front of you happening. How that works, it's actually, if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max, you can actually take spatial videos thanks to the sensors they have in the iPhone 15 Pro series. So when you take the spatial video, when you look at your video on your phone, it's not going to make any difference. It's just going to look like a standard regular video. But when you put the Apple Vision Pro on, and when you turn on this video you took from your phone, then it starts to look like a 3D video that, for example, you can look at from different angles. You can do that, and then you're going to realize that the video is, you can actually see the other side, and it's like there's more depth, and everything is more in 3D. But I realized something, that the videos that you take from your iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max and the spatial video you take in the Vision Pro is actually looking different. What I mean by that, so they showed me two videos. One video that was shot inside the Apple Vision Pro using the Apple Vision Pro cameras and sensors. And this video, they showed me something like there was a birthday, and then there were some kids playing around, and then there was a parent. And this video looked real and more 3D and actually physically in front of me than the spatial video that was taken in the iPhone 15 Pro. So the iPhone 15 Pro was still in a window, square window. It was more 3D. You could look at the video from different angles, but it was still looking like a still image. But the one that I saw that was taken from this Apple Vision Pro cameras, it was more like immersive, and it was more in front of me. Probably it's because of the cameras and the sensors and everything that they have in the Apple Vision Pro, which is a $4,000 device. Of course, they probably have more cameras and sensors in there. So that was another thing. But one thing, after the launch, Meta Quest just released that they are going to be supporting spatial videos taken from Apple iPhone 15 Pro and probably in the next generations too. So this is a good thing. That's why we like to have Apple and other new players in the immersive technology market. Another thing I liked about the Vision Pro, watching content. So watching the content inside the Vision Pro was actually really good. Thanks to the resolution, it was a really high resolution and the screen was really nice. But one thing I realized, the field of view is actually narrow. I also realized that when I was watching content inside the Apple Vision Pro when I was trying it, and when you look at the corners, especially if you look at down or if you look at the corners of your visual field, you're gonna realize that there are some black areas that is not covered by the content in front of you, by the screen. First of all, I thought that it was because of the immersion, because Apple Vision Pro, you can change the level of immersion, you can make it more mixed reality, like an augmented reality, or you can turn the crown and you can make it more immersive. Okay, next one, I actually talked about this, but reading is actually something that we have not expected from virtual reality headsets so far. So before Apple, Meta Quest 2, Meta Quest 3. Meta Quest 3 is actually an improvement on Meta Quest 2 a lot. The resolution is actually 30% higher than the second generation Quest 2, but it was still not very clear and your eyes could get tired, or it was not very clear as your screen when you're looking at your computer. But in Apple Vision Pro, I see myself reading articles or going to websites or to be able to type something in a Word document, maybe in Google Docs or Word, to actually be productive, or read novels in the Apple Books or any other thing. So when I went to Safari and I was scrolling through the websites, I looked at the images and the titles, and even the smaller text, it was very clear and crisp and sharp. So that was another thing I really like. Let's move forward to the next section where I talk about the things that needs improvement about Vision Pro. First of all, Apple Vision Pro is a device that is heavy. It is heavy. It's not like other headsets that are actually plastic. It's actually made of aluminum and there are a lot of metal parts inside. So the Apple Vision Pro feels actually heavy. It's not super heavy, but after using it for 20 minutes, I realized that it was actually sitting on my cheekbones here and actually had some sort of pain starting, and I see myself having more pain using it longer time, like maybe an hour or more. So this is something that should be improved. It might be also because of the headband. Apple is calling it solo knit band. Actually, the solo knit band doesn't have any support on top of your head. It's actually just only on the back of your head, and you're just making it tighter using the crown here, and then it just fits your head. But this type of band is actually making the weight sitting on your face instead of your head. I've seen in other videos that they actually had another extra headband that is actually supporting their head. I understand why Apple doesn't talk about it at all, because it doesn't look as fancy as the solo knit band, but I think it's more comfortable when you have the other one that has a support on the top of your head. Okay, the pass-through camera. So the Apple Vision Pro actually has pass-through cameras included inside the headset so that you can see outside. Apple is actually promoting Vision Pro as a special component because of the cameras involved, because you can see things outside and you can actually place windows in your physical environment. But the pass-through camera was actually kind of disappointing. I don't want to say disappointing, but it was not as good as I expected compared to other things inside the Apple Vision Pro. For example, the screen resolution is really high, and when you have the full immersion, it looks really sharp. But when you turn on the mixed reality, looking at the cameras, looking at the physical environment with your cameras, it is actually not that quality. And it looks nice when you're sitting still, but when you move your head one side to another, you actually start to realize that there's actually blur happening in the cameras. And it's actually, you can understand that it's not as good as your physical environment. It's not like you're looking at your environment through your eyes. You can understand that it's a camera view. Again, this is understandable. It's a first generation device. Also, the technology is still not there to bring you something that is right in front of your eye and looks exactly like your eyes. I understand, but it is something that would be nice. if we could get an improvement in the second generation or later. Coming back to the eye tracking, I said I really like the fact that you can control things with your eye and it looks seamlessly most of the time. I've never had any problems in the 20 minutes that I used the Apple Vision Pro. But one thing also other reviewers mentioned about that on YouTube, other videos, that this feature, looking at things and selecting things with your eye, is actually kind of difficult to make other things. I've never thought that I would find this actually not useful, but it is. In some situations, looking at things and selecting things with your eye is actually making things difficult. What I mean by that, for example, let's say that you look at something and you look at a window, and then from this window you're looking at the Photos app, and then you want to select the Photos app. So when you look at the Photos app, if you don't want to select that app and you're just looking at it, it's not letting you select something else if you're not directly looking at it. So another example, if you have multiple windows and if you want to just grab something from your field of view on the left side, but if you're actually focusing the window in front of you, it's not actually letting you interact with that thing. It's not possible because you can only look at things, and then the moment you look at things, it becomes activated and then you can select it. I never thought that it would be needed, but think about yourself, like in reality, sometimes I'm looking at the camera right now, but I'm also aware of other things in my environment, and I can actually just reach out to something and grab an object in my field of view, even though I'm not exactly directly looking at this object. So even if I'm focusing on the camera, I'm still able to interact with objects in my field of view. But in Apple Vision Pro, that's not possible because you can only look at something and then select it. Another thing about this, everything in the Apple Vision Pro is designed to work in a way to follow your eyes. Everything is following your eyes. They even introduced a new way to turn on your Apple Vision Pro after Touch ID and Face ID. Right now they have the Optic ID, which is like scanning your eyes, and then the moment you put the Apple Vision Pro on, it's actually going to be able to understand it's you and it's unique. It's going to turn on your device. So one last thing I want to mention is about the screen and the eye tracking. So the screen is very sharp and it's very clear compared to other devices, but at the same time, it kind of works in a way that is not sharp in all corners of the screen. This is actually because of the eye tracking that is following your eyes to make things sharper in the field of view if you're looking directly into something. Let me give you an example. You have a screen and then you're looking at the interface, and then you're reading something on a website, and then you look at the taskbar, and the taskbar gets sharper. But when you're looking at the taskbar, the other parts of the window on your field of view is actually a little bit blurry. This is actually intentional. This is not because they didn't realize it. I think they do it because, first of all, it is how your eyes work. I'm looking at the camera right now. I can see there are objects in my field of view, but they're a little bit blurry. That's how our eyes work, right? But again, like the other example, it is not only a small area that I can see. I can actually see a wider range in my field of view, and I can switch from one to the other seamlessly very quickly. But when you look at a screen and try to do that, it's not as fast as your eyes are doing, and sometimes it might feel a little bit frustrating to look at. So again, if you're reading something and then you want to change your focus from one position to the other one, it's not actually following very fast, and it may not be easy to look at. So again, sometimes you might want to just glance on something to do something or activate something, and then just look at that information, and it's not going to do that as your eyes are actually doing. Okay, the future potential. I think Apple Vision Pro is actually a really good device, and I am actually glad that we have this technology in the market right now as someone that is interested in virtual reality, researching in virtual reality. I knew Apple's presence in the immersive technology market is going to help us all. It's going to help everyone. In the past, virtual reality was a niche. It was only used by a small group of people who really enjoy playing virtual reality games, or it was used in enterprise for training employees. But it's the fact that Apple is pushing it as an entertainment and work device, kind of a Mac or something like other devices that you use in your daily life, is actually good, that people are going to actually find different ways to use the virtual reality headsets. Then other companies, Meta or HTC or Valve Index or any other company, is going to benefit from that, because VR is actually going to be more popular and people are going to be familiar with the technology. But talking specifically about the Vision Pro and the potential, I think Vision Pro is going to be more like an individual device like your Mac or iPhone, and then you're going to use it for traveling and watching something and working, or to relax at your home, and you're going to be using the virtual reality, spatial computing for entertainment and work purposes, especially at the beginning. But once it becomes more capable and people, especially developers, start to develop different applications and explore different use cases of Apple Vision Pro, and if the Apple Vision Pro's price goes down a little bit, I think it's going to be better in the future to have Apple Vision Pro. It's definitely going to help virtual reality to stick around for a longer time and become another form of media that we actually have in our lives. Okay, so wrapping up, I think Apple Vision Pro is a really good technology, especially for the potentials that we have for the future. Right now, I don't think it's worth spending $4,000 if you have a limited budget. I wouldn't recommend just going and buying the Apple Vision Pro, because there's actually limited applications you can try inside the Apple Vision Pro now. But for maybe the second generation, or in the future when this technology becomes cheaper and more capable, then it will make sense to buy it. The things that I like about Vision Pro is actually very, very positive for the future of the immersive technologies, and I believe it's going to help us all to have a new technology. It's very exciting to see that there are new players in the immersive technology market. So what do you think about the Apple Vision Pro? Do you think Apple Vision Pro worth buying or trying? Or do you think the Apple Vision Pro is going to help virtual reality to become a more popular type of technology in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.